On February 28, 1994, 6 volunteer pilots began a daring bombing mission, violating the established NATO no-fly zone.
Leading this perilous flight was Ranko Vukmirovic, a pilot from the Bosnian Serb Air Force, guiding his men.
Their Jastreb J-21 jets, however, were vastly outmatched by NATO F-16s in speed, maneuverability, and weapons capability.
The Jastreb pilots meticulously attempted to maintain flight below radar detection, a critical evasive maneuver.
However, with their target, a vital weapons factory, approaching, they had to ascend to 2,000 meters for the attack.
As they climbed, the aging Serbian jets instantly illuminated on the watchful NATO radar screens, revealing their position.
50 miles distant, 2 patrolling F-16s received immediate notification of the J-21's unexpected presence and heading.
NATO command alerted. Black flight, you have 6 bogeys, BRA 320-0452 at 7,000. Flanking.
Responding with a crisp, "Copy that," the F-16 pilots expertly banked their advanced jets sharply towards the identified target.
To expedite the conflict's conclusion, NATO had established a strict no-fly zone over the region.
Consequently, these F-16s were precisely dispatched on an intercept course, enforcing aerial restrictions.
Vukmirovic acquired a visual lock on his factory target, promptly arming his bombs for the imminent attack run.
The J-21s then meticulously positioned themselves in pairs, sequentially, as a sudden radio transmission cut through.
An urgent voice crackled. American aircraft directly ahead of you, shattering the mission's initial calm.
A palpable sense of dread began to churn within Vukmirovic as he processed this alarming news.
He clearly observed the distinct contrails of 2 American Air Force jets directly ahead, a startling sight.
I see.
In prior missions, American jets had merely observed and issued warnings, never directly engaging enemy aircraft.
Vukmirovic understood. If F-16s intended to shoot, they possessed the range to do so from miles away. Suddenly, his eyes widened, witnessing 2 F-16s approaching at incredible speed, a breathtaking display of power.
They roared through and past the Bosnian Serb flight, prompting one pilot to exclaim,
"Ha ha! American Ferraris!"
Quickly, a commanding voice refocused the team. Focus on the target, maintaining mission discipline.
From the F-16, a pilot jested, "Did you see those vintage planes?" Ha ha! Briefly lighthearted.
Despite this intimidating show of force, the Serbian pilots remained undeterred, eyes fixed solely on their objective.
With unwavering determination, the Jastrebs commenced their attack run, releasing their ordnance onto the factory target.
Being older technology, the Jastrebs relied on rudimentary optical sights for precise targeting calculations.
As the factory target drifted into their crosshairs, the aging planes released their effective 550-pound bombs. The bombs descended, striking the weapons factory from multiple, carefully coordinated directions, ensuring widespread impact.
A J-21 pilot confirmed. They dropped bombs, reporting the successful ordnance release to the flight.
NATO command responded. Understood. You're clear to engage. Weapons free. Authorizing offensive action.
The F-16 pilot confirmed. Roger, moving to engage, adding ominously, this is going to be shooting fish in a barrel.
At the formation's rear, pilot Zlatan Kranalic witnessed the final bomb strike, confirming mission success. He reported, "Target is hit, receiving the immediate response. Copy that. Objective complete. Turn for home."
The 6 J-21s swiftly turned for their airbase, but their speed was insufficient against the F-16s.
The F-16s, with superior speed, swept in behind, meticulously lining up their sights on the formation's rear.
The F-16 pilot precisely switched to air-to-air mode, selecting an AIM-120 missile on his display computer.
On his head-up display, a clear box designated the target, confirming acquisition and readiness.
With a solid lock confirmed,
the F-16 pilot decisively pressed the weapons release button, initiating engagement.
Fox 3, as the powerful missile detached from the wingtip.
The AAM-120 AMRAAM, a radar-guided missile, immediately locked onto the fleeing J-21's radar signature.
It accelerated rapidly, a deadly projectile relentlessly closing the distance on its unsuspecting target.
Kranalich scanned the skies anxiously for the Americans when an enormous flash suddenly caught his eye.
Momentarily wondering if he was hit, he then witnessed an explosion on his wingman's left wing.
Half the wing instantly shredded off as his wingman frantically reported,
The Americans are behind us!
The order came. Scatter! Run! As the 5 remaining J-21s aggressively broke formation.
They violently turned over, diving sharply towards the ground in a desperate attempt to evade.
One F-16 relentlessly pursued, following them deep into the winding valleys among the Bosnian hills.
Each remaining pair of J-21s split, heading their own way, leaving Kranalich completely isolated. He frantically glanced over his shoulder, navigating the treacherous terrain, a terrifying sight emerging. An American fighter was relentlessly hot on his heels, a relentless hunter in the chase.
Kranalich reported desperately. "Here's on my tail," as the F-16 pilot announced, Fox 2.
The F-16 launched an ARM-9 Sidewinder, a heat-seeking missile, screaming towards its target. It swiftly locked onto Kranalich's hot engines, relentlessly chasing him across the vast, open sky. Kranalich flew dangerously low, expertly skimming over imposing electrical transmission wires in his desperate evasion. The missile detonated near the wires in his tail, severing part of his vertical stabilizer.
Yet, he remained airborne, yelling, "I'm hit! I can't shake him off!" over the radio!
He attempted to report his critical situation, but his radio had gone completely dead. Alone and vulnerable, Kranalich peered over his shoulder, bracing for another imminent impact.
Instead, to his astonishment, he saw the F-16 turning away. Its pursuit abruptly ended.
Kranalich, respond. They got him. Keep going.
Meanwhile, Mikarevich and his wingman pushed their Yastrebs to their absolute limits, racing through valleys.
However, the pursuing F-16 relentlessly closed the distance, its superior speed undeniable.
The second pair of Jastrebs were targeted. An F-16 pilot called out, "Fox 3!"
Another AMRAAM missile released, rocketing directly towards its designated target with devastating intent. Mikarevich was still scanning the sky when the missile struck, disintegrating his wingman's jet instantly. The Jastreb erupted into a fiery explosion, scattering flaming debris and metal across the sky.
Mikarevich cried out, "Passage is down! The American is on me!"
Funneling, panic rising.
He immediately broke into desperate evasive maneuvers again as the F-16 fired yet another missile.
This missile slammed directly into his engines, a catastrophic impact tearing through the airframe.
The explosion shredded the fuselage, as flames violently poured from gaping holes in the aircraft.
I'm tripping! I'm hit! I'm hit!
He pulled hard on the stick, desperately willing the aircraft to ascend as fire engulfed him.
As flames completely engulfed the cockpit, Mikarevich pulled the emergency handle, ejecting moments before disaster. And the F-16 roared past overhead as Mikarevich's parachute deployed, carrying him safely towards the ground.
The F-16s, their mission far from over, pressed on towards the next pair of fleeing Jastrebs.
The F-16s swapped positions. The covering jet now dove into action, armed with fresh missiles.
However, their fuel was critically low. In mere minutes, they would be compelled to disengage.
A pilot reported, approaching bingo fuel, 2 bandits trying to escape. I may get 1 shot.
The wingman responded with a concise, "Roger that," understanding the gravity of the situation.
South of the F-16s, Vukmirovic and his wingman, Goran Zaric, grimly heard friends fall.
Their hopes were utterly crushed, seeing an F-16 appear menacingly over the hills behind them.
Vukmirovic yelled, "Behind us!" as the pair violently broke formation, seeking desperate evasion.
The American jet swept in. With minimal fuel remaining, the F-16 pilot acquired a lock.
A voice calmly stated, "Fox 2, signifying the launch of another heat-seeking missile." Vukmirovic witnessed the missile launching from the rail, curving menacingly directly towards him. He turned hard, desperately attempting to outmaneuver it, but his efforts proved futile.
It rapidly approached from his right, exploding just off his wing, a shocking, deafening blast. Stunned, he was relieved. The fragmentation, incredibly, caused no significant damage to his jet.
He looked back, bracing for another attack, but instead saw the F-16 turning away.
The American jet, low on fuel, had abandoned the chase, surprising Vukmirovic and Zaric.
He's turning away. We made it.
Thalivas. Their relief was short-lived. NATO command had dispatched 2 additional F-16s to the area.
Vukmirovic looked back up, his voice urgent.
2 incoming! Run!
The pursuit continued.
The 2 J-21s desperately scrambled for speed, diving daringly deep into the treacherous valleys.
They skimmed treetops, racing between hills, the F-16s relentlessly shadowing and maintaining pursuit.
Glancing over their shoulders, they saw the F-16 steadily closing the gap, a relentless threat.
There was absolutely nothing they could do to gain an advantage in this unequal fight.
In a desperate last-ditch attempt, Vukmirovic conceived a perilous, daring idea.
Follow me.
He turned his jet straight towards a sheer cliff face at maximum speed. A bold move. Zaric, his wingman, maintained incredibly close formation behind him as Vukmirovic commanded.
We pull up as late as possible.
His heart pounded as both jets hurtled straight towards the unyielding earth in a terrifying descent.
Pull up!
Vukmirovic yelled.
Pull up!
Both pilots strained, pulling their controls back with all their might.
Zaric was crushed by extreme G-forces as the ground rapidly filled his entire windshield view.
He grunted, "Come on!" in a desperate plea for the aircraft to respond, defying gravity.
Vukmirovic's jet tragically clipped the ground, instantly bursting into a devastating inferno of flames.
Zaric looked back in horror. There was no parachute visible, only fire and smoke.
No! No!
He screamed, "No!" as the F-16s burst through the smoke, relentlessly continuing their pursuit. He pulled into another desperate dive, using terrain for cover, but the F-16s were far too close.
An F-16 pilot called Fox 2 as a missile closed the final gap.
Below. It exploded directly into Zaric's tail. His fighter burst into flames, losing all control.
He released the canopy and ejected, but he was far too low for survival.
The parachute had no time to open. He fell into the fireball of his own crashed jet.
Splash 1. Another bandit on radar. Engaging.
The F-16s left the scene, swiftly catching another J-21 flying low over the countryside.
It was Kranalich, bravely limping his severely damaged jet towards the elusive safety of home.
He monitored his gauges intently when an F-16 suddenly roared past, a terrifying presence.
Filled with dread, he immediately pulled on the stick, his heart pounding in fear.
His sole plan was to gain altitude to eject before the American could finish him.
As the F-16 moved behind him, he desperately grabbed the canopy emergency handle, bracing for impact.
But then, the F-16 pulled up alongside, precisely matching Kranalich's speed. An unexpected move.
He locked eyes with the American pilot, a silent, profound moment of recognition.
The F-16 pilot offered a solemn salute, then turned and gracefully flew away.
Of the 6 Jastreb pilots who volunteered for that dangerous mission, tragically, 3 never returned home.
This entire intense engagement is now famously known as the Banja Luka incident in history.
Kranalich later reflected, stating, "I don't have any bad feelings towards the American pilots.
We had our assigned task, and they had theirs."
A testament to a soldier's perspective.
This landmark event signifies the first combat engagement in NATO's storied history, setting a precedent. Captain Robert Wilbur Wright was credited with 3 aerial victories, a remarkable achievement.
This was the highest score by a USAF pilot in a single mission since the Korean War.
Fellow pilot Stephen Yogi Allen was also credited with one decisive victory that day.